Thank you all for joining me today. Today we are in the final module of the Business Builder Workshop. We're talking today about hiring with precision. I'm your host, Shawn Patrick Moloney, owner of Momentum Realty as well as Thought Company, also a podcast host. You can see all my social media links right here. Make sure to follow me and also make sure to subscribe to this channel. Without further ado, let's get started. So today we're going to talk about hiring and overall what you want to do to make sure your hiring goes well. So what is OPT and how does it benefit me? We've gone over this in past episodes, so if you've seen them in the past, you know what OPT is, and some other people, it may be the first time they heard OPT because we've always heard OPM, which is other people's money, but OPT stands for other people's time. It's the ability to use other people's time in order to grow your business and to not have to do everything yourself. A lot of type A personalities have trouble at first with this, but it is something very important to remember and something very important to learn about. All right, so the most important questions before hiring would be similar to when we're kids: who, what, when, where, why, sometimes how, right? So first off, let's talk about the who. Who is the perfect fit for the company? A lot of times we spend too much time and energy into just hiring anybody versus thinking who is the perfect fit for my company. Next up, we talk about why do I need the help? Figuring out why you actually physically need the help is how you end up correctly filling the position, because the right person is important, but why do you need the help? So a lot of us, we immediately just kind of jump to conclusions on why we need the help. We don't pay attention to the actual why. So often we say like, okay, I need more employees, so I'm going to hire, versus thinking like, why do I need to hire? Why can't the people that are here already do it? Why is this going to change anything? A lot of different whys right there. And then what? What tasks will they be taking on? This is another important one because often we take people into a job role without putting together a job description or anything like that. And we end up in a situation where they're not quite sure what they do at the company. They're hired in and then they're basically underutilized. They're not able to complete as much financial benefits for the company as they're hoping for because they have not been properly tasked. They don't know what they're doing. So we'll talk more about that coming up. And then when will I have time to properly train them? So hiring cycles, we don't want to hire when we need somebody. We don't want to hire somebody the day that they should be doing something. We want to hire somebody for the future intent of what they're going to be doing. So if we want to hire summer help, we'd want to hire them in sometime early spring so that they're trained before the summer rush comes, and that we're not trying to train them while the summer rush is there. So we need to think, when will I have proper time to train them? And where will I advertise to find them? Lots of times people use friends and families. They use referral networks. Maybe they go in a hiring agency, but where will I advertise to find them? That's a really important question to ask yourself because you want to make sure you put yourself in front of the best candidates, not just the most candidates, which some companies brag about. We have the most people looking for jobs. Well, most doesn't always mean best. So we want to think about where do we want to advertise them? And then how will I sort out all the applicants? Sometimes in current times right now where we're hiring, lots of people don't have jobs because of COVID-19 and they just don't have a place to be. So they put in applications to jobs that they don't have any business being in. They don't have any real reason why they put in the job application other than to fill the need for themselves to find a place to work, to make money. It is not about them wanting to do the job. It's about them wanting a job. So let's continue forward here. So the next slide is about why. Why should you hire slow and fire fast? This is a very important one. I actually have heard this quite often from people. And, hiring slow doesn't mean actually hiring slow. It means hiring in a manner where you go through all the questions before you hire the person. And then if things aren't working out correctly, being willing to remove the person and being willing to admit acceptance of not failure, but that it is not the right person, that it's not the correct person for the position. So by moving forward quickly, you're going to save your company from losing money versus the situation that a lot of people are in where you continue along, and you always think that there's some way that something's going to change and that it's going to get better in the future with this person. So hiring slow, again, it's not about hiring actually physically slowly, taking a long time to do it. It's making sure that all the proper steps and precautions were taken before taking that person on. As they always say, it's a situation like this. A lot of times in safety issues or theft issues, once you know that that person has unsafe behaviors at the workplace, why are you waiting till you have a workman's comp claim to kick them out? How is that going to help your business, and where is it going to lead you? It's going to lead you to big trouble. It's going to lead you to losing more money, and ultimately, one wrong move by an employee could end up in a situation where you're actually worse off than you were before you hired them, and they not only did they not make you money, but they actually physically lost you money by their decisions. Hiring friends and families. I want to go over this one really carefully and quickly, but just think about this. Be careful hiring family and friends. It may seem easy and fit perfect, but think long and hard before making the decision to do so. If there is somebody difficult to let go, it would be somebody that's friends and family. It's really awkward to tell your dad, hey, dad, you don't have a job no more. Or, hey, Uncle Frank, you're fired. But the truth is, a lot of times, if you're not careful, you run the risk of building that friendship relationship in business, which can be really troublesome because they begin to take advantage of you, and they don't look at it as taking advantage of you. They remember hanging out, enjoying the night, and just chilling, and then suddenly they're working for you. And then when you tell them things that they need to do, they start to get an attitude towards you as if you're being rude. But the truth is, you're not being rude. You're just holding them accountable as you would any other one of your employees. Risk being, if you don't, your other employees will get annoyed by it. They'll end up in a situation where they're like, okay, how come I have this standard, but you don't have this standard? So that's a really difficult situation to put your employees in, because in the long run, you're going to lose good people over family members that aren't so good. Not saying that family members can't be great. You might find an amazing employee in a family member, but being careful to make sure that the decision is beneficial to the company and beneficial to you, and not just beneficial to your family member. It's nice to be able to give a family member a job. It's nice to be able to make them money. But at the same time, you can't put your business out hiring all your family. So next up, let's talk about DISC personality tests. So DISC is just one example of many. But really, what you want to do is you want to make sure you're using personality tests, because different types of people work different ways. And DISC is dominance, influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness. These are important traits for different people to have. If you bring in a HR person, you really don't want a high D. They call it a high D, so a highly dominant person. You probably want somebody more in the S or the C category. Whereas if you have somebody for a position that's very physically demanding and momentary decision making, you might want someone with a D or an I category. So knowing what you have and surrounding yourself with the correct people allows you to get what you need out of the employee, but also ultimately, the best thing we can do as employers is to hire the right person for the right job so that they can find success every day and so that they can enjoy doing their job. Because ultimately, when we have people that enjoy their work, everything goes easier. It's not quite the challenge it was when we're working with people that don't want to be there. Because when people don't want to be there, it can be really difficult. So that's the next subject I wanted to bring up, which is core culture. Core culture is something that you really, really want to remember when building a brand. Core culture can be everything, but one wrong hire can lead to a lot of internal issues. It's something that you can end up with problems within your entire business, basically, because of the fact that it's like if you hire the wrong people, it can toxify the relationship with everybody in the whole entire business. And then you end up again back like that friends and family thing. You end up losing good employees over bad people. And once the culture's gone toxic, then you're in real big trouble. Next up, let's go. Time to get out there. It's time to get hiring. It's time to make sure you take these proper steps in order to find yourself a winner. So remember this. Ask yourself only once. Your hiring, is it working? Is it working? So ask yourself once. If your hire is working, is it working? So oftentimes the person is hired in, and then and it comes to a point where if you hire the wrong person and they're not working, you have to make the move. You can't sit back and wait. You have to make it. So one of the things we can do to help people find success is giving them job descriptions. The job description you created in a given position is a living, breathing document. So be sure to update that constantly based on what you want out of the employee in the position. As you build up a job description, in the long run, you end up in a situation where you're going to need to hire again. So you actually shave certain pieces of that job description off, and you add it to somebody else's job description. But when you build out really good job descriptions for people, they know more what you want out of them. As a small business, sometimes the job description may be very broad. As a bigger business, they really start to narrow in. But having a person document what they do makes it a lot easier when you go to hire the next person and you take certain roles from their job position and put it over to the other person. And that ultimately makes sure nothing doesn't get done and everyone has accountability. So we have 1 week left. Next week, we're going to do the commencement. I really appreciate all of you going through the full business builder workshop. If you haven't yet done so, jump back and start at the beginning. All the modules are right here on YouTube, always available. Subscribe. I'm going to be doing other business builder type of events coming up through my company, Sauce Company. I really appreciate all you taking your time today to listen to this episode about hiring, and I really hope it helps you grow your business with great people and steady, sustainable growth. If you want to follow me and learn more, you can follow me on my personals, also the real estate company, Momentum Realty, as well as my consulting brand, Thoughts Company. You can tune into the podcast, Real Facts in Real Estate, which is all about buying, selling, and owning homes as a real estate agent. And the other one is home ownership, about the same, buying, selling, and owning homes. We really try to teach that all the way through. Over here at Momentum Realty, we call our agents Move Mentors because we believe that they're here to mentor people on the process of buying, selling, and owning homes. So that's why we train so heavily in all those categories. Again, thank you so much for listening today. Reach out to me if you have personal questions, or I'd love to talk to you about growing your business and doing some consulting work for you, whether it be exit strategies, profitability studies, getting ready to sell a business, whatever you need, I'm here and I'd be happy to help. Thanks again and have a great day.